I'm Diana, creator of Money Boss Mama. If you are returning, welcome back. And if you are new here, I teach women how to become a money boss from the inside out by shifting their mindsets, paying off debt, and saving money. You can learn more about me on my website, moneybossmama.com. But for now, I am going to be giving you my best 6 tips for moving out of your parents' house the right way so that you don't wind up having to go back. If you are not subscribed, make sure to do that now. And let's roll into tip number 1. First tip is to understand where your money is going before you do anything else. So before you go out and search for rentals and just completely jump ship, you need to understand where your money is going. Do not be that friend that we all have that says that they get paid and then they're like, girl, I'm broke. I have absolutely no idea where my money has gone, because if you are broke, how are you going to pay for all of these new expenses that you are going to have? So I recommend first writing down all of your expenses that you pay for regularly. And this should include things such as your insurance plan, so healthcare, your auto insurance, etc., your groceries and food, your gas, your debt payment. So if you have any credit card debt, student loans that you're paying off, etc., and anything else that you pay for regularly. And then once you have all of those expenses listed, compare them to your income. So compare that total amount that you're spending on expenses each month or whatever frequency that you want to use, and compare it to your income. Whatever you have left over, this will be the amount that you will have to use in your rental search. So if you have $1,000 remaining after you subtract all your expenses from your income, then you will have $1,000 to use as a guideline. But this will not be your target price range. So make sure to continue watching to see how much you should set for your targeted price range. My second tip is to estimate the cost of utilities. And I think that when people move out of their parents' house for the first time, they tend to forget that there's going to be other expenses that they have to pay for versus just rent, and that's it. There is no point in moving out into a place of your own if you are just going to sit in the dark from an unpaid light bill. There's no point. So once you have the area in mind that you are interested in, call up the service provider and see if you can look up the current bill. But keep in mind that some states don't allow this. I know that my state, which is Arkansas, did not allow this. So another way you can go about it is to, creep around the property if there's an apartment complex that you're interested in, just to see if there is a current tenant that would be willing to tell you how much that they pay for utilities. And if all else fails, if you don't want to go that route, then you can just resort to good old Google. This is what I did, and the internet is full of resources. So I estimated the price of my utilities myself using the internet. And keep in mind that usage is going to play a role in the cost of your utilities, but at least having an amount in mind will allow you to be able to properly budget for your new place. Tip number 3 is to set your target price range. So once you determine how much of your money is going where, and you get a feel for how much utilities are going to cost you, then calculate how much you can realistically afford in rent. And the key word here is realistic. The number 1 rule is to live within your means. Preferably under, but never over, because you will probably wind up right back where you came from, which is your parents' house, because you don't have any money to pay for all of your bills. So looking over your expenses and possible utility amounts, ask yourself, how much can I realistically afford to pay? What is the maximum amount I can pay in rent and still have enough money left over to pay for other financial obligations? And do not forget that you still have to pay for expenses such as toiletries, clothes, groceries, household items, etc. So you want to make sure that you are leaving enough wiggle room to be able to pay for those other expenses. Taking all of this into consideration, then set your target price range. So for example, let's say that after all of your expenses are accounted for and your utility amounts are accounted for, you decide that the maximum you can afford to pay in rent is $850. So you set a target price range of $780 to $850, with that $850 being your maximum. Doing this allows you to make sure that you are remaining realistic in your rental search, and it will weed out the rentals that you cannot afford. Tip number 4 is to build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is a savings that you establish for emergencies. This could be your car breaking down, this could be unexpected medical bills, etc., something of that nature. What it's not for is want. So even though you really want that handbag, this is not what this account is for. And when you have an emergency fund in place, it not only gives you peace of mind, but it may also keep you from getting evicted and going into debt. And if you are already in debt, going into more debt. So when I was moving out for the first time, I was a super young 22-year-old mom. I was a full-time college student, and I only worked part-time. So needless to say, I was very low income, but I did have 6 months worth of expenses saved up by leveraging my tax refund and my school refund. And y'all, let me tell you, this has saved my behind. It saved me so many times. If I did not have that 6 months worth of rent payment saved up, I would have been up shit creek. Like, I would have had to move back in with my mom because I fell on hard times a lot of the times because when you're moving out for the first time, everything is new. You have all of these new expenses, and sometimes it's hard to keep up. So please, 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 do not move out of your parents' house without having some type of savings. Preferably, you would have at least 6 months worth of your expenses saved up, but at least getting your emergency fund to twice the amount of your rent will help to put you ahead. And I see so many people searching how to move out of your parents' house with no money. Y'all, do not move out of your parents' house with no savings account, with no money, because what do you think you're gonna have to help pay for your expenses? Nothing. Don't make it harder for your future self. Set your future self up, practice patience. Then once you get your savings account to where you need it to be, then you can continue on your rental search, and then it will help you have all this peace of mind, and you'll be able to pay for your expenses should something happen. So if you're going to move out of your parents' house, y'all, make sure that you are doing it the right way. The 5th tip that I have is to establish credit. So the best thing about moving out of your parents' house is this newfound sense of freedom. You live life on your own terms, and the last thing that you want to do is ask your parents to be a co-signer on your new place. Try to establish credit before you start applying to rentals, and your credit score is just going to show people the likeliness of you making on-time payments, and you are more than likely going to need good credit history whenever you are trying to rent. And also, it may lend you a few discounts if you have good credit on rent deposits and utility deposits if any specials are going on. The fastest way to build credit is to use a credit card responsibly and paying it off in full each month. But if you are someone that is not disciplined, and you know the second a card touches your hand, you are going to spend, then I don't recommend going this route. Now, this tip is not an end all be all, but it does help to make the process of moving out and getting a rental a lot smoother. So if you are interested in learning how to increase your credit score, I did create a video on how I increased mine 100 points in 1 year that I will link somewhere on the screen or in the description box below that you can check out. The sixth tip that I have is to believe in your ability to support yourself. So moving out for the first time, it is really exciting, but it can be really scary as well because you have all of these new expenses. Everything is on you and you are like a full-blown adult now. And some months may be better than others because you are getting adjusted to this new life, all of these new expenses. So you may have a late fee, you may forget a bill, etc. And whenever those things happen, it can be really discouraging. So just make sure to check in with yourself mentally, and your thoughts are super powerful. So before you even start on this search, be sure to be really confident in your ability to take care of yourself, to financially provide for yourself, and just know that whatever happens, just pick yourself up and continue on, because I've made a million mistakes and I was dead ass broke whenever I moved out of my mom's house with a 2-year-old and a part-time job. But I still kept going. I still had confidence in myself, even though I had a lot of late fees, etc., because I was getting adjusted to this new way of living. And I never went back to my mom's house. So I know if I can do it, then you can do it as well. So just have confidence in yourself, you guys, and be excited for this new chapter in your life. So those were my 6 best tips for moving out of your parents' house the right way so you don't wind up having to go back. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and please subscribe because I create new videos every single week. And I didn't want to make this video super long, but I do have some additional tips as well. So if you want me to make a part 2, just let me know. But I will catch you all in the next video.